This is David with High Performance Stoicism. I want to talk to you about perfect actions, taking an insult. The concept of a perfect action is very important in Stoicism. There's a sense in which, if you are practicing Stoicism, yes, you want to be virtuous, but the result of that is you are capable of performing perfect actions. So, just to give you a little sketch of what a perfect action is, it's an appropriate action where you do the thing that is reasonable, but how you do it, that's the difference that makes an action perfect rather than just appropriate. So let's talk about this topic, but there's one thing we should clear up right from the beginning, and that is today there seems to be some negative thoughts about perfection. So many people will say, well, nothing perfect exists. And I'm not quite sure how this rumor got started, but I think we should rethink this idea for a couple of reasons. Number one is, have you never had a perfect moment in your life? You do a hard day's work and you're in the mountains, and then when you're done, let's say camping, you go to the top of a mountain and then you just have a beautiful sunset and then everything's perfect. Is there no tune you've ever heard that you would say that is perfection, right? Listen to some Bach. Listen to a great solo by Jeff Beck. Could it have been done any better in many cases? Many people would say no. So just keep that in mind, and I just want you to have an open mind as we discuss this really important issue. So I talked about appropriate actions in my previous video, and let's just say an appropriate action is an action that once you do it, it admits of a reasonable justification. You could also call it a rational action. And the things that the Stoics talk about as appropriate action are pretty wide-ranging. They include such things as honoring your parents, honoring your brothers, honoring your country, and these seem to be duties, but there's a whole range of appropriate actions that don't seem like duties at all. Let's just say they're not duties, and they include walking, engaging in a conversation, meeting with your friends. Those are appropriate actions, and you can see why the Stoics would say these are according to nature. These are natural for human beings to do, and my view is these aren't really moral in any sense that we understand the term, but the importance of that is it covers a wide range of things way beyond morality when we're talking about appropriate actions. So, appropriate actions, they are reasonable, they admit of a reasonable justification, they're in accord with nature. What's the appropriate action if you are insulted? How should you take an insult? The Stoics are going to tell us you should not say anything in many cases. So someone comes up to you and calls you a total loser. The Stoic response is, I'm not looking for a witty response. I am not going to say anything at all. And if I pull it off well, I look pretty cool while I ignore this piece of nonsense. Now, the reason why the Stoics give this as something you should do, why is it an appropriate action to say nothing? They're going to say because it doesn't matter. And another reason is because you are training your mind every situation you get into. And if you take the insult seriously, you're saying it's a bad thing. You're agreeing, in some sense, what they said is bad. Oh, maybe there's something to it that I am a loser. That's why people really get upset. But if you think it's neither good nor bad, just some noise, it shouldn't bother you at all. But that's the appropriate action. You don't say anything to an insult. Someone calls you a total loser. But here's what is going to go on in the minds of most people. I am doing this in the mind of most person because it's kind of a power move. It's kind of a way of dissing them, indirect way. and I'm showing that it doesn't bother me. The whole matter, though, is not covered by that because most people are going to be somewhat hurt by it, if not totally hurt. They're going to feel insulted, and they are trying not to be resentful, but they are resentful. And the reason they are resentful is because they actually believe in their mind that it is bad. They think someone saying something nasty is bad. Now let's talk about perfect actions, and we're going to apply this to taking an insult. A perfect action is one that it's an appropriate action that is done from the soul of a virtuous person. So the virtuous person is the only person who can do a perfect action. And being virtuous means your soul has been perfected. So in the case of not saying anything in response to an insult, what is the difference between a perfect action and an appropriate action? So let's list some of the things that are involved. A perfect action is one which is complete. And the Stoics say your action hits all the numbers. What they mean by that is your soul is in total harmony with what happened. Another thing, your soul is responding wholeheartedly to what they do. That means there's no part of you that is divided against itself. And then when you don't respond to their insult, that's something that you really believe is the appropriate response. So that's a second thing to note about such an action. What else is going to be involved in a perfect action is you are going to welcome the action, which many people don't understand how you could do that. That's what makes a virtuous person so different from the rest of us. They're going to welcome this event. Now, they're welcoming this event because their soul is in a firm and unchanging state. They don't have to think on the spot. They don't have to figure out how should I handle this person, because they just don't see someone insulting them as a problem at all. It doesn't register to them as a problem. It's like a cloud passing by. It comes by and then it dissipates and it doesn't mean anything to you. So what else besides this? Besides the things I've mentioned, wholehearted action, it's knowledge, you're welcoming it. You know it is not bad. What this person said to you was neither bad nor good. Okay, so those are some of the things that make an action a perfect action. I understand they're a little abstract, and that's why we're going to go to taking an insult. So the sage, the virtuous person, is going to not respond to being called a total loser, but here's some big differences. They don't see it as a problem at all. They don't even have to think about it because they know it is neither good nor bad that this person made this noise at this time. It just doesn't register as a problem. In addition to that, the person who is a virtuous person and why their action is perfect, and we hinted at it before, they are totally unified in terms of the response, meaning they're welcoming what you say. Okay, this is my brother, this is my sister saying something. Oh, I think they're trying to insult me, but it doesn't mean anything. And I have no resentment at all. And the reason I have no resentment at all is because of my firm knowledge that it is neither good nor bad. And so here's a parallel case to think about. Okay, it's summertime. You go to some backyard party of a neighbor, and let's say you're someone who's pretty big, pretty strong, and then a 5-year-old kid says to you, I'm going to beat you up. Right? That doesn't register as a real threat, so you're not even upset about it. And that's how the sage sees most people who try to insult him. They just say, oh, that's one of those things that's going on. My brother has some mistaken impression about me, but that's all right. And I'm not going to be resentful, and I'm not doing it as a power move. And I'm just saying, okay, I think my little brother has a problem here, but I'm not going to have any resentment about it at all. And so the difference will be most people will walk away from the situation and then they're going to think about it for hours or for days about the insult that the person said. And here's one of the signs of being insulted. That is, you're going to laugh about it, but you're laughing about it because there's a way in which it really bothered you. For the sage, it doesn't bother you at all. And those are some of the reasons why, which we gave. So the reason to know this is because part of your goal is to get to a point at which it is impossible to insult you. That's part of the beauty of being a sage. And just know that when we talk about perfect actions, yes, we are practicing to have perfect actions, but it's going to be some time until you get to a point where someone's insult doesn't bother you at all. So that's it for my talk today. Give me a like, a subscribe, a comment. We'll see you in the next video.